Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another video. This video I want to showcase this new creation I built here, which is an F-4 Phantom. I'm not exactly sure what model I made it off of. I kind of just looked up pictures and I was just like, alright. I kind of went ahead and built it. But this is probably the most detailed aircraft I've made so far. I do plan on making more aircraft. So in the build mode, you can kind of see how everything's set up. I'm gonna start over here at the nose. Originally, I planned on having the guns of this aircraft lodged inside the nose of the aircraft, but what would happen is like while flying or even taxiing, this thing would randomly have a lot of yaw, just from the collisions of the pistons and the blocks inside of here. So mid-flight, I would just randomly start yawing, and it makes it really difficult to aim. And this aircraft uses absolutely no gyros. It's just pure Trailmakers physics when it comes to flying. So it's already pretty difficult to aim this thing. But you may be asking, then why do I have a piston here in the first place? I could just close it up and just have it that way. But for some reason, when I do that, I could probably actually showcase that to you right now. For some reason, when I do that, it had this almost like a Cobra effect. And I feel like that turn radius is just really odd for this aircraft. But this just bled off so much speed that it made it a little difficult to win dogfights. Yeah, there we go. So this thing has a bigger turning radius, but allows me to maintain most of my momentum. So that way it's more of a controllable turn. Now moving back to the cockpit, this is just a simple cockpit design. I put some decals around the windows to make it look like a kind of like, I don't know, not reinforced, but just the cockpit. So this consists of a piston that's set to 0, just like the one on the nose, and then it has a block connecting to glass blocks with this wedge here that's carrying the motorcycle seat. So when I spawn it in, it wedges itself inside the aircraft, so it kind of gives it a flush cockpit look. And next I have this intake design that's made out of 2 rounded corner inverted blocks. They are 1x2, and so in order to get this 3-block tall thing and round it out, I had to like rotate it and put it more inside the aircraft. When you're looking at it in the front, it does not look that bad. And further back to the wing tip, a lot of the blocks in this game don't have that perfect swept wing look. So I set these hinges here to have a 45-degree angle, so it does line up with the sweep of the wings. However, it does give it a more rounded wing tip. But these swept wings are the most problematic part of this build. I built this aircraft from the nose back, and so I built all this was fine. The seat merged in the aircraft fine, built the swept wings, built the wing, and I started adding more to the body. And for some reason, each time I spawned it in, it will have like a panic attack and just like start spitting uncontrollably and then just exploding. So I really had to play around with the block order that I placed everything in order for these wings to actually sweep back and then not freak out. And then for the body of this aircraft, 3 blocks wide. And so what I used were these rounded 2x4s, and then on the other side, these rounded 1x2, like rounded blocks to give it that, you know, rounded top look. I wanted to reduce the amount of complexity that I had on this aircraft because I knew I had to put in a lot of detail to make this thing either function and then look like the aircraft that it's meant to be. And then for the wings of this aircraft, I have small modular wings that go inside the body of the aircraft, and then it extends out until you get to these small elevator fins that allow the aircraft to roll left and right. And on the wingtips, I have these simple just tail fins on a hinge. So when I spawn it in, I can have it folded, and then when I'm ready to fly, I just fold them back out. And then for the tail area, it has a stubby but like long tail, so that way it's not too tall. So it gives you plenty of stability in the air without, like, you know, looking weird. And in order to get the forces of the aircraft to work properly, I had to put a powered simple tail fin in here, so that way it gets the center of horizontal drag. Then for the pitch of the aircraft, I have these 2 tail fins that are attached to hinges that are always like tilted downward to achieve that tail fin look of the Phantom. I had to play around with the settings of the elevators to make it so it doesn't pitch too much and not too slowly. And then for the weapons of this aircraft, you could pretty much equip whatever weapons down here that you want. Right now I have 2 rocket launchers on each wing to do kind of like ground pound action. And then for air-to-air combat, I have these 2 blasters that sit right underneath the wing. As for the engines in this thing, in the center I have a long line of space thrusters to give it the thrust at once. And then at the very end, I have the 2 dragon jets to kind of achieve that engine look at the back. I also tried replicating the curved inside that the tail of the Phantom has, which is kind of difficult with the blocks in this game, but I am pretty satisfied with this. And then the landing gear is quite simple. It's just wheels with a servo for like to turn left and right. And then once I'm in the air, I actually detach the landing gear. I used to have retracting landing gear that would glitch inside the aircraft, but again, when you glitch something inside the body of something in the air, it has effect on its aerodynamics, and so flying it was very difficult. The top speed of this thing is only 300 miles an hour, so it's not a super fast aircraft. However, for its weight, it's pretty good for how fast this thing can go. I don't plan on adding any speed glitches unless I plan on going supersonic, which is going to take a lot of work. Funny enough, the thing that took the longest on this aircraft was actually achieving a crosshair on the inside of the cockpit that shows me where everything will land. It took me forever to line up this decal, and what it pretty much is, it's just a decal on top of this wedge block. It's super small, but when it's crammed so close to my character, which this is actually the top of cockpit view, what I did is I took a 2x4 block, so that way when I keep spawning it in, it doesn't say like block detached. So I took a 2x4 block and then put a shield, and what I did is made sure these are on default, so it shows these little nooks, and I placed the shield on the 3rd little nook, and then I grab whatever wedged block that I plan on putting the decal on. And so this kind of gives me a kind of like a 0 point. It's kind of hard to do, but this is how I did it. My monitor has the option to have a like on-screen crosshair. I don't know why. It's just a weird feature of this thing. And what I do is I actually line up that dot to the center of the crosshair. And this is after I already had so many failed attempts of lining this crosshair up. What I did is I get a mental picture of where that crosshair was by getting the center dot of the decal to the center dot of the crosshair on my screen. And then what I do is I'll select the reposition, and it will show where my crosshair is, will show where that new crosshair will be placed. And then I just draw a mental picture while lining up the angle. While lining up the angle of the edge of the shield block. And then when it's perfect, like how I have it set up right now, you can't see the crosshair, but I have it perfectly where I lined it up to get that final positioning. And I hit reposition, hit OK, and then it lined up that crosshair perfectly for me. So that's kind of how I achieved it. It's not the best method, but on the fly, it's kind of what I thought of. And there we go. So I have that perfect lineup of the crosshair. The bullets do shoot over it. That's more of like a ranged shot. However, you can see the general direction that these shots will go. That's all that matters, especially for the rockets too. Lining up the rockets, you just gotta place the target within that circle, and depending on the range, you know, to pitch the aircraft up a bit or down a bit, and just fire away. So yeah, this was just a little showcase video of this F4 Phantom that I built. This is my latest creation in Trailmakers. I've not yet put it on the Steam Workshop. However, if I do, you can go ahead and search up my name, Intellectual, and you'll find it. If you liked what you see, go ahead and like this video and comment down below any suggestions or any questions you have. I'll try my best to answer and, you know, keep checking as much as possible. Feel free to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video or an update video on any of my Trailmakers creations. As always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope to see you in my next video.